Today is Sunday, October the 23rd, 2011, and it's been a pretty interesting week, starting with the Republican National presidential debate hosted by CNN this time. And I think everyone's just about covered that. Of course, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in over the little junior high school schoolyard fight between Mitt Romney and Rick Perry. It's obvious those two don't like each other. But for the first time, I had the opportunity to see Mitt Romney get a little bit miffed. And I don't think he handled that very well. And I use the word junior high school because that's exactly what it looked like. I'm speaking, I'm speaking, I'm speaking. Then he called on Anderson Cooper to jump into it. Of course, Anderson didn't jump into it because CNN, let's face it, Fox is a little bit to the right, CNN's a little bit to the left, whether they want to admit it or not, they are. And so a couple of things occurred to me. I like Anderson Cooper. I don't watch him all the time, but I watch him enough to. He's got a little bit of cred. He's got a good sense of humor. And, but the night of the presidential debate, what was running through my mind was by letting this little schoolyard brawl, verbal brawl, get a little bit out of hand, they'd have copy for the next day. If Anderson was going to moderate it, I think he was weak as a moderator for that debate. And once again, they're at the podiums. I still say that Charlie Rose and Bloomberg did it right, seating everyone around a table. So anyway, I think, of course, noticeably absent was Jon Huntsman, but I don't think anybody noticed it too much. Everyone held their ground. Rick Perry, cheap shot about the guys mowing Mitt Romney's lawn. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. If there's not someone in the United States who doesn't at least suspect that someone working around them, be it the window washer, the guy mowing the yard, the guy with the leaf blower, the guy in the detail shop, what have you, doesn't have his papers absolutely right, I think we're all being naive. And just going along with that for a moment, Alabama with their new immigration law, I was reading an article about that talking about a farmer in particular. They were talking about several, but one in particular who decided to go with American citizens, and he couldn't get anybody to show up and do the work. I'm not saying that we can't do it as Americans, but there are some things that I think we don't want to do. And so we'll leave that at that. So once again, Rick Perry, weak showing at the debate. Romney, I'm going to tell you something about Romney. I've been thinking about this all week. Mitt Romney is very polished. We talked about this last time. He's got all his ducks lined up, and yet pulling at about 23% of the polls, he just can't break loose. And no one can figure out why. And I thought this week, I'm not being derisive of the guy, but game show host, right? He's got the name to go with it. So uh, and I thought this myself, you know, several years ago when he was governor of Massachusetts, I heard a speech that he did, and I thought, wow, this guy's got his act together. But when in the cast in the light of presidential politics, he, you know, he's probably close to the front runner right now, but he just can't pull ahead. There's too much. I won't say there's too much polish there, but it's too slick. Herman Cain, saw him in the debate, and then on a talk show or two after that. I can't remember which. And then yesterday evening, I watched the Faith and Freedom conference in Iowa, where everyone got a chance to speak. I'll talk about that in a minute. The 999, yeah, it comes from SimCity. I don't care what anyone says. That's what we all think. That's exactly where he got it. It's too simplistic. It's not going to work, I don't think. And I'm not a mental giant when it comes to doing the tax code, but we could have something simpler. But I don't think it's going to be 999. As it's been pointed out since, it's regressive. You can't tax everyone the same, but everyone should pay a little bit. Sure. Everyone should pay something. Those that have a lot should pay a lot more than those that don't have anything. And that's just the way I think most of us feel about this. So Michelle Bachmann, once again, didn't get too much of an opportunity to talk, but she was there. You know, she had her talking points again, which, once again, to say this, I think if she's going to pull any further out of where she is, that needs to be expanded, because I don't think she's saying a lot. And this is my comment about Michelle Bachmann. Michelle Bachmann had the bully pulpit of Fox News until she became a presidential candidate, and I think they cut that out when she became an official candidate, because then you're going to have to give everybody the room. But that was when she was most effective. When she just came on there and was giving the Obama administration just all the business, all the grief. Now that she's a presidential candidate, I think she's being advised to tone it down a little bit. This is probably a smart woman. I don't know from a standpoint of everything how qualified she would be, especially when it comes to foreign affairs, etc. But I think that she's got the willpower to be the president. Let's look at Johnson. Someone like that. They call you into their office, and this is what we're going to do, and you're going to get right now nothing for it, or you're going to get this down the road for it, but this is how we're going to do things. Let's, and the long phone calls and the cajoling and things, and I think she could probably do that. Newt Gingrich, again, strictly from the brain standpoint, Newt's got everyone there hands down. I think that he would make a fine president. I think he would. Regardless of the trash in his background. He's having, of course, from a money standpoint, he doesn't have the money, I don't think, that he needs to be able to do this, which is a shame, but that's the way that it is. But I think he's going to hang in there. He got a rough start, but I think he's on his way. Especially in the Faith and Freedom Conference last night, he got a standing ovation. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him speak. I could picture him as the president. Herman Cain, going back to him for a moment, he's had to back down on a couple of things this week. That gives me some pause. I could see him in the White House telling people what to do, you know, making his point strongly. But I think the backbench right now, whoever's advising him is he needs to get better people, because I don't think we're not buying all of it. Rick Santorum, once again, I think all the other candidates, well, who cares what they think? It's what we think that matters, right? I think the other candidates are getting a little irritated at the little jabs that he's taking. And so I think that was the big part of it. So once again, it was an interesting week. Now going to Ron Paul, I think he did well, but once again, he he's been in Congress a long time. He's got a certain way of speaking that I think with the ideas that he had, if he were, sorry to say it this way, but if he were more of a front man, if he had a little bit more of the Romney polish, I think he would be doing a lot better than he is. But I saw him on Meet the Press this morning. As usual, that's interesting to watch. The new guy they have on there, Gregory, he's got this laundry list of questions. His demeanor says he doesn't believe anything that anyone in front of him is saying. He's always comes across as slightly irritated and impatient to me. And so I don't watch it a lot. The show I liked the best was, which I don't think they should have moved the lineup, but when George Stephanopoulos was doing This Week on ABC, that was great. That was great. But Ron Paul acquitted himself well this morning. And so that sums up the week for the moment.